Trump met with Joe Biden. Now, what was that like? If you saw the picture of Joe Biden, he was beaming. And I'll tell you why. He knows he couldn't have had a second term. He knows he would have gone down to a massive defeat. He knows, in retrospect, it was a good thing he did not run. And he is ecstatic that after throwing him out of the window, Obama, Pelosi, and behind the scenes, Kamala Harris, she ended up getting spanked by Donald Trump, the man that Biden beat 4 years earlier. So he feels released, he feels free, he feels vindicated. Here is Karine Jean-Pierre discussing the meeting they had today, number 19.
That I would leave for the president-elect to speak to. What I can speak to is this president wanting to focus on the American people, wanting to focus on issues that matter, domestic policy issues, national security issues that are critical and important in how we move forward as a country. That's what the president wanted to focus on. Again, it was gracious, it was substantive, and I think that's what's important. And what we are showing the American people is how you do this. How do you have a peaceful transition of power, how it looks, and leading by example. And that is quintessential Joe Biden, I believe. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Karine. I'm just trying to understand, I mean, besides demonstrating a peaceful transfer of power, what was the big message that President Biden was trying to convey to incoming President Trump?
I think just that, and the American people. You know, you all had, those who were able to be in the room, got to see the two presidents sitting side by side, shaking hands. You heard what the president-elect talked about politics being tough, and understanding what that looks like. We get that as well, you know. And I'll go back to what we said last week. Did the elections turn out the way we wanted? Absolutely not.
Okay.
Are we disappointed?
Okay. Now, this is the same man who referred to Donald Trump's followers as believers in semi-fascism. Same man whose wife, a day or two before the first assassination attempt, referred to Donald Trump as evil. Her word, not mine. Same guy whose party denounced Donald Trump during the election as Hitler, a fascist. Kamala Harris, your vice president, referred to him as a fascist, a Nazi, a dictator, claimed that he said there were good and bad Nazis on both sides, as you did, Joe Biden, in your first ad when you ran for president. In fact, your whole candidacy is premised on this lie. The man whose hand you just now shook, you claimed, after Charlottesville, said the words that shocked the nation and shocked the world. There were good and bad semi-fascists and white nationalists on both sides. Big lie. There you are shaking his hand. Now, about the orderly transition of power bit, I just want to remind you a little something. Your candidate in 2020, the one Trump beat, after she lost, for 4 years, she referred to Donald Trump as illegitimate. Did anybody on the left say anything? Did Chuck Schumer say anything? Did Nancy Pelosi say anything? Did Hakeem Jeffries, who succeeded her as the leader of the Democrats in the House, say anything? Hillary referred to the election as stolen. Did you guys say anything? But Donald Trump complains about 2020, and he is an existential threat to the foundation of our republic. This is how phony these people are. Now, after calling him a threat to democracy, do you still feel he is a threat to democracy? Number 14.
In the meeting, we saw a unified front related to a transition in the Oval Office meeting. But a lot was said on the campaign trail, like Trump is a dangerous threat to our country and our democracy. Was there an apology today?
I'm sorry?
Was there an apology from President
whom?
Biden for the words, some of the words used?
An apology from the President Biden.
To President-elect Trump for some of the words that was used on the campaign trail.
Look, And I've answered this a couple of times about...
Well, hold on. No, you haven't. You've never answered, did Joe Biden apologize to Trump for referring to Trump followers as believers in semi-fascism, which is what he said at a private home. It was widely reported. Has he ever even been asked about it? No. Proceed, please.
And I've answered this a couple of times about a threat to democracy in the past week. The president is going to always feel obligated to be honest with the American people. What he says still stands. And
hold on.
him.
What he says still stands. So he just handed over the keys to somebody he feels is a threat to our democracy. Doesn't that make him complicit in jeopardizing and undermining our democracy? You just said he's always going to be honest, which means he doesn't take it back, which means he believes the person to whom he just said, welcome back to the White House, is a threat to our democracy. What does it say about Joe Biden? What does it say about our democracy? Proceed.
And it's not just him. You heard this from former staffers. You've heard it from the former chief of staff, John Kelly, and others. You heard it directly from the president-elect, the former president, about enemy of the people. Very, very clear. Very clear. What we want to be...
Regarding the enemy of the people, just want you to remind you something. Barack Obama gave an interview to Spanish language radio, and he said that you need to punish your enemies. And then when he got criticized, he walked it back. And nobody mentions it now. But Donald Trump uses some loose rhetoric like that. And of course, you bring it up again and again and again and again.